We are live on WVON. We are taking call-ins today at 773-591-1690. And you can find our show on Facebook and on YouTube at The Wake Up Show Chicago. So this is a new show on today. We have just come back from Lobby Day, and we are very, very excited about what is going on. We went down to Lobby Day, and we met with State Rep Carol Ammons, and she will be a special guest on the show today. We also had a chance to meet with the Capital Development Board. We met with all of these different agencies, and it was so powerful in the movement. I mean, we got questions answered. We had a chance to talk about specific bills that we were in support of. We got a chance to talk about the trials and tribulations state, all the way from problems with getting funding, once grants have been awarded, all the way to talking about how to fix those situations. They were so inviting and intuitive about our feelings and about what we need to do in order to accomplish the goal of building black business in the state of Illinois and getting those procurement contracts. So you know what? Today we got a very exciting show. We also have in the studio with us Miss LaDonna Ray of LaDonna Ray Consulting. She went down. She went down to Lobby Day with us, and her experiences are going to be shared on today. And Mr. Lorenzo is with us today. But we also have on the mic with us Larry Ivory and Lord Mike. And we also have our good friend, Mr. Gilbert, Vincent Gilbert. So today's show is going to be packed. And we're hoping that you stick around and that you learn something on today and that you are inspired by what happened. So, you know what? I am going to bring in our good friend Vincent Gilbert so that he can be on the line with us. Looks like I got a little technical difficulty bringing in Mr. Vincent Gilbert. Larry, are you on the line with me? My man, Larry, you know what? Even before I bring in Vincent Gilbert, let me say this. You are a trendsetter. And if it wasn't for people like you putting together putting together a lobby day like this, there's things that our black businesses would not be able to do. Larry, why don't you go ahead and crack this thing open?
Voting. Springfield is where the deals are cut, where things happen, where legislation is brought to bear that can impact you. It can hurt you or it can help you. And if you're not down in Springfield, making sure that you're protecting your interests, you can get hurt. So we want to make sure that our people, our businesses, come down to Springfield, take a look at legislation, and support legislation that we believe is good for us and talk to our legislators and then go meet with heads of agencies who have billions of dollars to spend and challenge them to spend more money with us and take a look at what they're doing right and acknowledging that and taking a look at what they're doing wrong and how they need to fix it in order to improve Black participation. That is our primary objective and mission, to go down there and to make sure this happens. We had some beautiful pins and T-shirts due to MC, the great printer, and so it was a great day. And I'm really looking forward to having Carol Emmons, who is the quite a very influential person down in Springfield. She is a joint chair of the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus, the chair of small business, uh, technology, and and entrepreneurship committee. So she wears a number of hats. All those committees, from technology, small business, entrepreneurship committee, those are critical committees, and she's in the loop. And so she's going to be coming to us talking about the legislation that we supported when we went down to Springfield, and we're going to be asking our audience to do more in terms of supporting it. Hey, I want to make sure we introduce our good friend Vincent Gilbert. Vincent, talk to us, man.
But for not Melody Span Cooper and her husband Pierre carrying on the great tradition of her father, Purvis Span, and of the great founder, Wesley South. So once again, thank you, Melody. Thank you, VON, for keeping these airs open and informing our people. Having said that, Carol Edmonds, I have a special relationship with her. Over 30 years ago, I'm dating myself. She was probably about 12. She was a constant visitor at the Straight Talk Economic Roundtable led by our great friend W.L. Lillard, Star Planet Television. And say prayers to my good friend right now. But she is a true entrepreneur. She's a business person that understands business economics and the resolute benefit to the people in the community. When Black businesses are doing well, we have jobs, contracts, and other opportunities. And Larry, once again, I think that's about my 6th or 7th lobby day. A fantastic job of seeing 60 to 80 to 90 business people practicing citizenship, petitioning and lobbying the government for the benefit of Black people. And so once again, thank you for having me, MC Larry Avery, and the great WVON listening audience. It's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Vincent, we're glad to have you on as our guest again. And, let me also give a shout out to Carol Emmons, too. We had, everybody knows we've been working on this initiative in terms of healthcare. And she was critical because I think Dr. Sterling and his group in the chamber has been pushing to try to get something done. There's an RFP coming out. I dare say that would not happen without her work and without her commitment. We haven't gotten it over the finish line, and there's still some things to do that we need to talk about and perhaps get corrected. But it's great to have someone on the inside that you can talk to, like we got it made, guys. You got the Speaker of the House. The Speaker is Chris Welch. You got a budgeteer who's my state rep, Jahan Gordon, who is the budgeteer, and we got LG Sims on the other side. So if ever we're going to get some things done, we're going to get them done now. So I'm excited to be Black and be in Illinois, but we still got work to do. So MC, take us where we're headed before I break, or a couple of the comments that you want to make. Or do we introduce Lord Mike on?
The diggy doc, y'all, but that's the Department of Corrections. They had a lot of opportunities for Black businesses to come on down and get that bag, But you can't always think you're gonna sit back and get blessed and then not be a blessing. So you got to do the right thing to make things happen. So man, I just had to call in this morning to say a little something about Lobby Day and to make sure that the people know to get on now and come on and rock with the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce if you want to get some things done. You understand what I'm saying to you, MC Pearson?
Hey Doc, we missed you in studio, and it was good seeing you down in Springfield.
Hey, listen, man. Your main man, Buddy Love, keeps a very busy schedule, but man, I am going to appear here and there to do what I do for the Illinois State. I know you love when I say that. Black Chamber of Commerce. Much love to you guys, man, and hopefully I will be in there over the next couple of weeks to be in person to give you a hand because I know you need it, brother. I got to come help you out.
Larry,
so go ahead,
man.
Make me proud, man. Go handle your business. Make me proud. Do what you're supposed to do. And I got to go.
Larry, what you think about Buddy Love?
Hey, he's a man. You know, Buddy Love is just a personality that brings a lot of energy to the show. And he's doing some great things and he's traveling. But when he can get in the studio, he's in the studio. And that's real important. I know we have a break that's going to be coming up soon.
Right
And
now.
then right after that break, we're going to have Carol Emmons and we're going to introduce LaDonna Ray also because she's in the studio. LaDonna, say hello real quick.
Well, you know what? She's going to say hello right after the break. We'll get back to you in just a moment. Thank you for listening to the Wake Up Show. Welcome back to the Wake Up Show, Chicago, powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. We are live. You can catch us on WVON iHeartRadio app, or you can go to YouTube and Facebook at the Wake Up Show Chicago. So we're going to keep this conversation moving along. We do have a special guest, State Rep Carol Emmons. She will be coming on shortly. But right now we have the main man, Mr. Larry Ivory and Vince Gilbert. So, Mr. Ivory, when it comes down to Lobby Day, what do you think was the most impactful meeting that you attended on today? And then I'm gonna open that up also for our special guest, Miss LaDonna Ray, as well, and Mr. Lorenzo.
Well, hey, MC, I think it's hard to pick what was the most exciting thing because I think all the meetings were important. Even some of the meetings I didn't get a chance to attend, that I hear that the Department of Correction was off the chain, CMS, and there was, like I said, over 9 different meetings with 9 different agencies that we had. And I know we're going to be looping Carol Emmons in on the call here, State Rep Carol Emmons. As I said, I'm just going to say it again. Carol Emmons is a joint chair of the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus. She's the chair of Small Business, Technology, and Entrepreneurship Committee. She's going to be coming on in a moment. I just text MC her phone number to get her on so we can bring her on here in just a moment and we will get going. I know she has a tight schedule. She's kind of she decided to come and spend some time with us, but she's going to be here for a moment. Then she's going to jet set out to another meeting. So we're going to get her on here in just a moment and roll it back to you, MC.
So, Miss LaDonna Ray, we got Miss LaDonna Ray, we have Mr. Lorenzo in studio. Both of you guys were at Lobby Day. Tell me, what was your experience? Because you know what? There's a lot of businesses that were on the fence about going to Lobby Day because they're new to politics, they're new to understanding how legislators actually affect their businesses, with the laws and stuff. So you know what? Can you guys unpack for us, what was your experience at Lobby Day? I know, LaDonna, this was your second or third Lobby Day, right?
Well, it was my first in-person lobby day.
Okay.
I've been involved virtually where, with the materials and talking to people about getting out there. But this time I was actually at lobby day. And let me just tell you, I was, first of all, it should have been more people. And I think that my experience just with the people that were there really took me back to the 60s, the 50s, the 80s. I mean, we really have a lot of work ahead of us. So I went into the room, Illinois Department of Revenue. I went into Illinois Department of Transportation. I didn't go to the Illinois Department of Corrections because everyone was that one was full. But when I went to the Illinois Department of Revenue, I really saw gaslighting at its finest. Like, it was a beautiful presentation about taxes and how they collected. But when it came time to talk about why we weren't getting access to or getting selected for those contracts, they stuck to the message mapping that said, we follow the guidelines, everyone can apply. And Mr. Jesse Thomas, of Mintex. And he's also a board member with the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. Had some questions, and his questions indicated, am I going too deep? His questions indicated that he had already applied and submitted his proposal, and he checked all the boxes, but unfortunately he was still not selected, and those reasons for him not being selected were not even on what's called the RFP, the request for proposal. I don't understand that. And the responses were just very general, very generic, very basic. And he also and then Mr. I don't want to, make anybody mad, but Mr. David Harris actually said that I see that you are upset. He never said he was upset. He never indicated he was upset. But I was sitting there with, like, I thought I was watching a horror film. And it was the same thing in the Illinois Department of Transportation.
Hey,
Okay,
LaDonna,
so
I'm going to cut you off real quick. We're gonna get Carol Edmonds on the line. She only has a few moments, so MC, can you make sure she's calling and looped in before she has to get out of here?
yes, sir. That is already in the process right now.
Hey,
Okay.
Larry, if I could say one thing, the question about lobby day. Why do we need a lobby day? Well, as citizens, you're supposed to regress your grievances with the government. There are no permanent enemies. There are no permanent friends. They're just permanent interest. And so Lobby Day for me is a collection of Black businessmen who, Larry, for years, you've been funding the political campaigns of many Black elected officials. Matter of fact, I think you probably, if we look at the records, you may be the biggest Black organization that actually invests in our elected officials. And since there are no permanent enemies and no permanent friends, when you go down to Lobby Day, like we did, like I've been down for the last 8 or 9 or 10 years, and have 90 to 100 businesses that fund your political action campaign, so you are allowed to then be able to give funds to those elected officials and corporations who support our people. I salute the Illinois Black Chamber of Commerce, because that's
And you know
real
what?
economic
And
power.
you know what? Somebody else who also salutes the work that we're doing with the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce is State Rep Miss Carol Ammons. Miss Carol Ammons, come on, wake it up for us.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you all this morning up there in
Fantastic.
Chicago?
Fantastic, State Rep.
Wonderful. Wonderful. I
Well,
can hear you all. There's a little breaking up. There's something clicking in there, but I can hear you.
So, Larry, go ahead.
well, State Rep Carol Edmonds, we told people about who you are, and there's a lot of people that know you, but some of our listeners also may not know you. Tell us a little bit about yourself, and then let's get down to the business of the legislation that we're backing, that you guys are backing, and why it's so important for people to weigh in on legislation that impacts their lives.
Well, I appreciate it. My name is Carol Ammons. I'm the 103rd Legislative District Representative. I've been in, this is my 10th year. I can't even believe it's been 10 years,
Wow.
but it's my 10th year in the General Assembly. I'm the Joint Caucus Chair this term. I was a former treasurer and secretary of the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus prior, and I've been serving the caucus now for probably 7 of those 10 years. So I'm happy to be with you all this morning. Let me tell you, when I came to the Capitol last week and I saw the number of businesses I had come, like on the heel of your rally at the statue there outside of the Capitol, it was beautiful to see so many Black people. We don't often see that, unfortunately, when we're in Springfield. And I am advocating, I'm an activist, so I'm advocating that Black people have to take the position that if you want something to happen for the Black community, you're going to have to help us come do it. And you have to show up in Springfield, especially at the time where we're dealing with the budget. The allocation of the resources is the number one job of the legislator in Springfield. The second job is to pass good policy that impacts our lives positively. But when we get to this part of the juncture, April, May, and June, or I would say March, April, and May, we need Black folks to be coming to Springfield, advocating for their organizations, for your businesses, for the needs of the Black community, along with the Illinois Legislative Black Caucus.
Fantastic. State Rep, this
And
is
if you
Vincent.
want me to, I could go on into my bill. I don't know how you want me to do it. I know I only have a few minutes this morning, but I didn't want to dictate your program. You know, I'm on the radio also, so I know how this works.
No, State Rep, go right into the bills and why it's so important to why we need to make sure we protect those things.
Well, you know, we obviously the Black legislators have to play offense and defense. And I'm going to say this for no offense to any organization, but when we're in Springfield, we have very few Black organizations that are involved on a regular basis, 365 in Springfield, helping us draft policy and or helping us with the budget asks that are necessary for the Black community growth and development. And this is an important part. I have to reference one of our ancestors, whom I love his work. Dr. Claude Anderson wrote in Powernomics and Black Labor, White Wealth, that if you don't, as a business person, if you don't invest into your political leadership, those who go there to represent you, if you don't invest in them, if you don't work with them, it's very, very difficult to get the strategies out of the governmental entity that are in your best interest. And so historically, we've been missing the mark. We just missed the mark. Most of the time, we are late to the game. And so I was very happy to see you all there for your lobby day. And particularly, we are working on particular pieces of legislation that are to improve the lives of Black people throughout the state of Illinois. And I just want to highlight, as a chair of small business, it's important that I highlight the business aspect before I go into the second bill I'll talk about this morning, and certainly invite me back again. But it is important that we know today that we passed out of my committee last week the Build Illinois Act. The Build Illinois Act is designed specifically to empower small businesses. And I'm specifically focusing on Black businesses, minority businesses as a whole, and disabled and veteran businesses, which are all the same category within the qualifications of the state. But this particular bill helps to fund those businesses and back them statutorily. What we saw in the what's called a FAME program, a lot of this money comes through the federal government, but we don't get our hands on it, right? We don't get it. So what we did in this particular bill is raise the level and change the eligibility so that small businesses like yours that are represented in the Black Chamber of Commerce can get up to $2 million backed for them, as opposed to what the Advantage Illinois program caps minority businesses at $400,000. And we saw that as unequitable, right? Inequitable to small Black businesses. And we wanted to raise that and make sure you had access to the 2 million limit that all other businesses have access to. So we changed that this week, and it is on the House floor. It's House Bill 5621. We intend to pass that to bring equity and parity to small business lending in the state of Illinois. You cannot have a business if you don't have access to capital. And so we have been working on that since we passed the Pillar for Economic Opportunity and Equity in 21, and we have continued to build upon those access points for small businesses. In this case, because this is the Black Chamber and we're the Black Caucus, we're looking at Black businesses. There's nothing wrong with that. Everyone else is representing their interest areas, but we must focus on Black businesses and finding solutions to fashion those outcomes that benefit our community, because we know Black businesses will hire Black people and build power and economics together in our community. So that's one of the ones I really wanted to highlight this morning in the short time that we had together.
Well, State Rep Carol Almond, let me thank you for your leadership. And let me just also echo the work that you've done with Dr. Sterling in the healthcare initiatives that we've been fighting for and pushing for
Yes.
years. And we finally got an RFP out here, and that could not have happened
And
without
and
work of
we
people like yourself.
but we're gonna follow that up after the break.
Uh,
Get your tickets now.
Welcome back to the Wake Up Show Chicago, powered by the Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce. We have had such an awesome conversation thus far, but we're gonna keep this thing moving. We got some callers on the line, and you know what, prayers. I think that the work that Miss Carol Ammons, State Rep Carol Ammons, is doing. You know, I
MC, let me just ask this question real quick. I don't know if is State Rep Carol Emmons still on to talk about the other bills. If she's not, we'll move on. Okay.
Sterling and the preventative health clinics. We passed that in the pillar, healthcare and human services pillar in 2021. And we have been fighting to get that RFP released. And specifically, it was designed that Dr. Sterling and his proposal, which was accepted by the Black Caucus in 20, that we accepted his proposal and we wanted to move that out. So we put in the budget an allocation of $60 million for 5 years to launch the pilot. It has taken us to this moment, to this point, to get that RFP pushed out by the agency. And we've not been sitting on our hands waiting on them to do it. We've been pushing the governor's administration to allocate the necessary staff to get that RFP drafted and to get it out. And it has taken us this long to get this movement done. We won't give up on that. And there are other pieces that we've had to fight for to get the resources allocated to our community. And I'll just say this in closing, that for you all in advocacy organizations and Black people, period, you all have to pay attention to what is coming out of Springfield and help us fight for those resources that need to come to our community. There's no need for us to complain about other communities that's receiving resources if we're not going to do the work necessary to get those pieces allocated, even if that means we have to fight the current administration, whomever that might be, to get those resources allocated for our community. That's our job. That's our duty. Certainly, that's my commitment as the chair of the Black Caucus to the Black community. And so I'll thank you all for the time this morning, and I'll just hang up and listen.
Well, for anybody that's been listening, one of the things that we've just done is if you go to the show notes on Facebook and or on YouTube, you will find a link to the bills that that our state rep is pushing forward. So there's information there. You can download it. It's a white paper and it gives you all the information. And so then you can also support this. We have made that available on the Facebook channel and on the YouTube channel.
Hey,
Derek, I'd
MC,
like to-
MC, let me just pass it on to our good friend who knows something about politics, Vincent Gilbert. Vincent, talk to us, man.
You know, I just want to say, for those of you in the listening audience who heard that intelligent, competent state representative speak, she's very modest, but she is a real business person. She used to come to the Straight Talk Economic Roundtable with people like Spencer Leak and the Gatlins and Reggio's Pizza on a religious basis as a young woman. There's no thought why she is in the position that she is in. But the point I want to make that she made is we have to support those legislators that support our agendas. Like Larry, when Congressman Jonathan Jackson and Congressman Danny Davis gave video presentations to your group at Lobby Day, that's real Black power. When you have a new alderman like a Ronnie Mosley on the youngest alderman with the biggest ward, that's true Black power. That's why you need Lobby Day. So we can support these candidates when some of our detractors don't want to hear their voices. You know, Carol Adams has a lot of courage. Jonathan Jackson has a lot of courage. Ronnie Mosley has a lot of courage when they talk truth to power. But when you have a Larry Ivory and an Illinois State Black Chamber of Commerce and 90 to 100 businesses, that's real Black power. So support those Black institutions. I heard Dorothy Tillman this morning, support Dorothy Lavelle. Write a check to WVON. That's the significance of Lobby Day and the significance of the chamber, Larry, in my opinion.
Thank you, Vincent. MC, I know we got a bucket of calls, so you want to take some of these callers? Debo. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. Good morning, Brother McDuffie. I'm doing fantastic now that I hear business people calling in.
Absolutely. Daniel, thanks a lot for your participation and your leadership in reference to construction. That's his field, painting contractor. MC, back to you, man.
Good morning.
Ivory and Buddy Love. Of course, everybody's in the room. I was one who had the blessed opportunity to participate in Lobby Day. Been a Illinois resident before and came back recently, and I was heavily enlightened in relations to how things work. And it was only in the state of Illinois, only because I was invited by the chamber as a chamber member and to come back and listen to what's happening in Illinois. I was presently shocked in some of the things that the way the state is handling business in particular areas. One of them by which the community corrections, which I attended and listened to a lot of the ways they do business. Here, there's opportunity there, but also seeing the antiquated systems and things that they have set up that really kind of disturb me as a businessman. I know that there could be a lot of updating to help those behind the prison walls. I was under the understanding that 54% of those individuals behind the prison walls are African American people, if I'm not mistaken. And that was very hard to hear. Yet we know that we can do better. And the second meeting I was in the economic, and then it was just a double portion of bureaucracy and how things are antiquated and needs to be updated. And I don't know if that's just the way people wanted to kind of keep us out. But I think that we can work with the chamber and the leadership of the chamber and those that are involved with these type of processes as far as the state reps and whatnot to bring about a change, because we desperately need a change. When we hear our chairman state that black businesses are under attack, if you would have just simply went to Lobby Day and heard how the state is doing business, you would very well see what the words of our president is saying come to fruition. And so I know that you got a lot of work to do. The work is done not necessarily just.
Hmm. Yeah.
If I could- Can I speak to that?
Antonio, thanks a lot for your comments, and we'll go to the next caller. Vincent, you had a quick comment,
Yeah, I
and then
just
we're
want
going
to
to make
say
Shirley
that.
Donna Ray had her experience also.
Well, you know, the intelligence of the WVON family, it never ceases to amaze me that the black community is not confused, but we have to have organizations and elected officials that don't put their finger up to the wind and see which way the wind is blowing, but take true leadership positions. And when you have a state representative, Carol Evans, to be able to take these leadership positions, good policy makes for good politics. And we're in an election year. And so good policy makes good politics. But we should be about, and that's what the political pack is about, rewarding our friends and punishing our enemies who don't
Amen, brother.
take our agenda. Simple as that.
Yeah. Hey, MC, I know we got the incredible LaDonna Ray. She was down there and she had some great information on one of her pieces. I know we may have other callers, but LaDonna, why don't you tell us a little bit about your experience? Because you were there, you're part of the family. Give us some insight of what you took, the good, bad, and the ugly, as quickly as you can.
All right. First of all, I really appreciate the chamber and being able to have that as a platform for us to go down there and do what we need to do. But as we showed up in those different industries, it was definitely something that I don't think I know they were expecting us to bring our concerns, but I don't think they were prepared for our. With an answer, they don't have an answer so that we can kind of justify the fact that the results of the contracts that are being selected don't look like us at all whatsoever. Their responses, when I say there, I mean the Illinois Department of Transportation and the Illinois Department of Revenue, their responses were very general and generic, as I said before. And we left with still those questions that needed to be answered. And that was, what is the selection process when it comes to us checking all the boxes of everything that is necessary? But in all actuality, we really need to show up when Lobby Day 2025 comes up. I know that we are going to do this again and again and again, but sometimes people don't know what they need to do when they get there. I actually had a conversation with Dr. Jeffrey Sterling before we went in there. I didn't know. And I said, what does it look like? What can you paint a picture for me? And he said, it's a conversation. And so when people know that and realize that we're so busy working on in our business instead of on our business, and on our business is working through the chamber so that we can have a liaison and a connection and an advocate as well as lobbyists that will go to the Capitol and make change and make sure that we have access to these contracts so that we can change our communities, get our education, and improve our future, period.
Well, you know what? Also in studio, we have Mr. Lorenzo Hughes, who he attended his first lobby day this past week. Sir, why don't you go and wake us up? What was your experiences with lobby day? What did you see? What did you like? The good, bad, and ugly.
Hey, good morning. Good morning. First of all, I want to say
Morning.
thank you to WVON. I definitely want to say thank you to Miss LaDonna Ray for allowing me to, or inviting me and allowing me to participate and be amongst such powerful people in the room, especially Mr. Larry Ivy, Mr. Pearson. You guys, look, the Illinois muscle is real. But One of the things that really dawned on me being new to the area, when I say still new and a baby to the area, like I moved here from Kansas City, Missouri, and being involved with some of the politics there, they're dealing with the same thing in that city. And one of the things that I see that's quite regular when dealing with these type of situations is the outcome of people that are participating and backing our leaders when we go to fight for these different type of contracts to help with Black businesses. I think earlier in the conversation, Mr. Ivy
Ivory.
mentioned that, or Mr. Ivory mentioned that that we went down to challenge them on what they're doing and the right and on what they can do as far the rights and the wrongs that they're doing as far as like allowing us to participate in some of these contracts. No, but my concern is this with the audience that's listening is when you have leaders like Mr. Ivory that are going out and participating in these fights is that we have to show up. What I find a lot of times with our listening audience and with Black businesses is that when we hear about these fights taking place, we're not showing up when the team is put together. So it's hard to fight and show our seriousness and how serious we are with fighting for these contracts if we're showing up in small numbers. And when listening to people such as the Department of Revenue and looking at, I just had the feeling that when they looked at the numbers that was in the room, that they knew that they really didn't have to answer the questions that was there because our numbers was low. And when you look, if you attend a lot of these different organizations and institutions that go out and fight for Black businesses, you can see that they can see the numbers are low and they know that all they have to do is appease to the listening audience at hand, and they don't have to abide by what it is that we're demanding or fighting for.
Man, listen, y'all
That's
hearing
why
these?
it's so important, everyone, that, we had a record number of people at Lobby Day, but that doesn't mean there's 120,000 Black businesses in the state of Illinois. Could you imagine that you show up with a couple thousand Black businesses in
Come on now.
Springfield, the impact that would have, and then you have a strong pack, and then you have a super pack? That's when you begin to affect change, and then you start spending time down in Springfield. We got very talented state reps, state senators, and they're in unique position. Shout out to the Speaker of the House. I mean, he has to have one of the most challenging jobs, but I understand that he's doing a great job. He's fighting. We want to applaud him for the work that he's doing, but we need to be engaged and involved at every level of this game, supporting economically, supporting them with money, spending some time with them in Springfield, getting to know them better. If we do that, we'll begin to benefit from the time and energy like any relationship. Vincent Gilbert, all of us have a relationship because we put time into it. But if we never put any time into the relationship, if we never come to each other's aid, we do not have a relationship.
Come on
So
now.
we have to understand that whereas division, we need to bring harmony. And we need to get our taxpayers' dollars. It's our money. And one of the great disappointments for me was the Department of Transportation, honestly. Because when I asked the question about how Blacks are doing and what are the percentages, they know I'm coming. They know I'm going to ask this question, and they
Come on,
don't have an answer. It is absolutely crazy, quite frankly. And it's crazy because they know I'm going to ask this question. Everybody knows us. It's not easy to figure out what we're going to ask, but not to have it is an indication that we're not doing so well. So maybe we may have to organize a statewide strike to shut down projects all across the state to get their attention, to call Pete Buttigieg, the Secretary of Transportation, because our numbers are going down, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to be talking about this. We do not get it out, and they do not get it out with our taxpayer dollars because transportation is funded through a motor fuel tax. I say it every time. And that means you put gas in your car, you're funding highway infrastructure. Now,
That's
we're
right.
funding highway infrastructure. All the big general contractors don't dictate how all this money is spent. And they're winning and we're losing. And that's not right. That's un-American. That's not good politics. And we need to fix it, guys.
Well,
And they know that,
nothing
Larry.
I
The
would
looks on their
never
face.
Power never concedes unless there's demand.
Well, you know what? Let me do this. I want to bring another caller on the line, Mr. Universal Praker. This is a young data analyst, and his company is powerful. And he was down in Springfield kicking it with us. Why don't you come on, wake us up, Universal?
Hello, 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 Grand Rising family.
So, what was your experience down at Lobby Day? I know this was your first one.
Absolutely. This is my first one. I want to extend a thank you to Mr. Larry Ivory, our brother MCWVON, and also the Illinois Black State Chamber of Commerce, and also the West Side Chamber of Commerce as well. Thank you for having me on here, and it's a privilege. I was really the word very inspirational. My first time going to Lobby Day was super inspirational, and I say inspirational because I didn't expect, you know, the magnitude of Black excellence, business acumen, and also just the technical prowess that our people were sharing and giving, and just feeding. The energy there was insane. It was intense. It was wonderful. If you didn't make it, right, most definitely make your intentions for 2025 to be there, to come and to show out. From the aspect of getting on the bus, meeting with business individuals on the bus, traveling, just conversing, getting to showing up to the Capitol, right, in Springfield, and continuing just to be inspired by the voice of Mr. Larry Ivory, and just listening to other business professionals talk to the power of the people, encouraging people to get involved, to representatives, support these bills that are being passed, getting to understand what we don't understand, and it was just wonderful.
Well, I want to thank you for calling in. I want to slide one more caller in because he's been waiting patiently, Mr. Michael O'Connor. Come on, wake us up. You got about 30 seconds to give me what you got, Doc.
Hi, good morning. I'm very glad to hear what I've heard. I look forward to actually seeing what's going to happen and how this is going to work out for 2025. It was wonderful to hear State Representative Carol Adams. I know that with 120 counties here in the state of Illinois, and with the number of Black businesses that there are in the state of Illinois, the only reason why we have not been getting contracts is because of the fact that we have not participated. So I would hope that people would go, not just Lobby Day, but get to know who their state rep is before they go to Lobby Day. That means going to the office. That means supporting those legislators who support you when it comes to the hearings, the committee hearings in Springfield. And that's my comment for this morning. You have a great day.
Well, I appreciate it. So this is what I want to do. Prayers, I got 15 seconds left over for you to give us the final word on the wrap-up of Lobby Day. What you got?
Man, I'd say that we exercise our right. There's a lot more work to be done. It's not just Lobby Day. It's now what we do after Lobby Day. Now there's legislation. Now there's our political PAC. Contribute to our political PAC. Let's get involved. Let's do some concerts, raise some money. Let's support those who support us, and let's go against those who are against us. It's a simple strategy. If we do that, and if we work and respect each other, we'll get things done. We'll do some things that'll make grandma proud. We are at a critical time. Affirmative action is being attacked. Hey, we love what we're doing. A shout out to all our special guests, LaDonna Ray, MC, Lord Mike,
All right,
Vincent
Doc.
Gilbert, all of you here today. Thank you. And let's continue to fight for things that matter.
Peace.